All right, Dylan. So I can see that you're taking a peek at these. Let's see what we can do here. So these are the COVID journals with extra resources, the document that I provided for you guys. So question 1 is, what has New York State demanded as far as services and closures in the restaurant industry? So I included an article here that kind of goes into what is going on. So we see empty restaurants. All right, and it says New York, New Jersey, Connecticut closing bars and restaurants indefinitely. So we know that these bars and restaurants are closed starting on the 16th, okay? Or it was Monday night, so whatever that Monday was following the 16th. So it says that gyms, movie theaters, casinos will also close. Bars and restaurants will only be available for takeout services, and gatherings of more than 50 people are banned. Okay, so what does that mean for services and closures? Restaurants are closed, only takeout services available. So now, what kinds of salaries and wages are these people making on average? So I brought up a restaurant salary guide here. All right, so we can look at this and say that a hostess makes between $7.25 and $12 an hour. A bus person makes between $6.35 and $10.91 an hour, and a server makes between $2.15 and $10.85 an hour. But it's important to know that this also includes tips and then tip outs, which means that usually servers will have to contribute a certain amount of their tips to the bussers and the hostess and the other people who might not make tips. So these are all salaries that they are not going to be making while these restaurants are closed, unless they are working in some respect at the restaurant while they're still offering that takeout service. All right, so you can go ahead and write that down for what kinds of salaries and wages are they making. What securities and financial promises have been made to positively impact this industry? So, first article I brought up basically says that New York is going to allow takeout alcohol to help with bars. Typically, you cannot walk up to a Mexican restaurant and say, I would like 3 burritos and a margarita. You cannot get a margarita to go. But during this time, because it's a pressing time for all of us, we can get that margarita to go. All right? So they're allowing takeout alcohol. So that's something to keep in mind. That's something that might help them because you can usually make a pretty decent amount of money using alcohol as income. So a big profit margin is what the words I was looking for. Okay. And then they have allowed restaurant workers to file for unemployment, but these restaurant workers are saying that it's nearly impossible to file for unemployment right now because of the mess of the website and just the whole process. They weren't ready for this. Okay. They didn't know it was coming, obviously, so they weren't ready for it. Okay. So they've been told they can use alcohol. They can sell alcohol as takeout and to help earn them a little bit more money. And they've also been promised that they can apply for unemployment right away. Usually there's a bit of a waiting period. And now we're saying, nope, if you've been laid off, you can apply for unemployment. And even if you're temporarily laid off, what a lot of restaurants and places like that will do is say, listen, you're laid off. As soon as we can get back open, we're going to need you again, but we're laying you off right now so that you can get unemployment benefits. That's what's happening with a lot of people. All right, Wall Street banks. So it's saying, what else could $1.5 trillion be used to help in this economy? Okay. So essentially, some people have argued it can be used to provide health care. All right, Bernie Sanders on here, his tweet says, we want to provide health care, but they just handed out $1.5 trillion to Wall Street. The amount the Fed just gave, it could cover all student loan debt. All right, rent relief. Okay, so these are different things that could possibly be covered. Okay, what could $1.5 trillion be used for? Student loan debt, healthcare, rent relief, things like that. Would now be a good time to buy stock or sell stock? So this is a question that you could take, all right? And then you have to answer it yourself. So you could look at this article and can help you decide. So it says, should I buy stocks right now? I believe the answer is yes. It's important to know that equities may still have farther to fall and things will likely get worse before they get better. But isn't it necessary to catch the bottom of the market in order to be wildly successful? If you buy stocks right now, you have a chance at making some money back because they're going to go up. They're going to go back up eventually. Okay. What securities and our financial promises have been made to Wall Street banks? So let's look at this. All right, this is essentially that $1.5 trillion this amount of money that was given by the federal government, the Federal Reserve, to try to calm the stock market. Okay, so that $1.5 trillion stimulus loan. Okay. So let me look down here and we see professional and college sports. So how has the threat of COVID-19 affected the NBA? I'll close some of these because I don't need them anymore. Okay, so the NBA suspended their entire season. Okay, they had a player test positive. They ended up having multiple other players test positive. So they eventually decided to suspend the entire season. Okay. What are athletes doing to help arena workers who have been laid off as a result? So you can use that exact question. Bring this question onto your document. Okay, how sports teams players are helping arena stadium workers. So you can go through here. You can see that Mark Cuban, who owns the Dallas Mavericks, you might have also seen him on Shark Tank, he is trying to figure out how, or he ended up figuring out how to support the arena workers, the people who aren't going to be able to come to work, the people who clean the arena, the people who run the restaurants at the arena, the people who, they come to your seats with hot dogs and popcorn and whatnot, soda. So those people get paid by the hour. And so the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, Mark Cuban, said, we got to figure out a way to pay their bills. We got to figure out a way to get them some income. All right, so that's one thing that's happening. And then you have a few other examples here, and you can take a few of them. So you have the first baseman, Freddie Freeman, pledged $50,000 to the Atlanta Food Bank, $50,000 to the Giving Kitchen, $25,000 to Salvation Army. Celtics will be paying game night staff through the remainder of the regular season. Brooklyn Nets is going to pay non-salaried workers. All right, so you got a lot of different choices that you can go with here. In terms of what securities and or financial promises have been made to positively impact this industry, there haven't been at this point. So you can just write that down. There haven't been. And how is this virus affecting people differently based on their economic status? So there has been this idea that maybe athletes, celebrities, politicians are getting special treatment. If you tomorrow were like, I think I have the coronavirus, it is very, very unlikely that you could get tested for it unless you ended up in the hospital being admitted, not in the ER, in the hospital, have a bed, admitted, struggling to breathe, possibly about to be hooked up to a ventilator. That's when they'd test you. But some of these NBA players, celebrities, just like wealthy businessmen, they've just been able to say, hey, I'd like a test, and their doctor's been able to get them a test for COVID-19. So this is the idea are these athletes getting special treatment? Are they able to get a hold of these tests when other people are not able to? And then just talking about the fact that a lot of these bailouts, a lot of the money that's being injected into the economy is going to the rich, and they're not the ones who are suffering. It's the people who are working hourly jobs that cannot work those right now. Okay, so how is it affecting people differently? How does it affect you differently if you're rich and differently if you're poor? Okay, or even somewhere in between. And then pick someone that you know, mom, dad, brother, anyone. Ask them, what's your opinion of the government's response to COVID-19? What's your opinion on politicians and medical experts who are offering different pieces of advice regarding the virus, its spread and impact? We've seen a lot of President Trump saying certain things, and then his medical advisor saying, well, that's not exactly right. How do you figure out who you're going to listen to? Okay. What's your opinion on politicians and medical experts who are offering different... Oh, we just did that one. Sorry. Moving forward, do you have any concerns about the United States economic health or the government's role in how this is being handled? So do we have... does whoever you are interviewing have any concerns about, our business is going to be able to reopen after this? Do you know someone who maybe lost their job? That's something, and they're worried that they're not going to be able to find a job because they're going to be competing with everyone else who's trying to find a job. These are some questions that you could ask. All right.